Welcome to Monkey and Frank. My body is Dom and my name is Doe. I love that separation. I was talking to a friend today on how it's helping me, how it helps me deal with life now. Not the best thing if you're bipolar or if you're schizophrenic, I think, but I don't, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is actually. So the biggest reason is like, though my soul is perfect as it is. I love that idea from spirituality, from Ram Dass, from the greats, that no matter what, your soul is perfect and it is made out of love, right? So when you die, forget your idea of hell, you can accumulate karma, which is going to make it so that you get reborn here, blah, blah, blah. But if you do go on the other side, you will realize that your soul is absolutely perfect. You are a pure reflection of God, which makes it so that you are just a being of love. And I really, truly believe that. So no matter, if you have enemies, people you hate, people you dislike, it won't matter on the other side. You guys are going to be friends. Now, obviously, the connection, the soul connection through love is the most important thing. So anybody that you have in your life that you love, those are the people that are going to be, like, it's a big family reunion. Matt Fraser talks about that all the time, that when you die, you just go on the other side and be you, and it's like a big family reunion, which I truly, truly love. So Doe is my soul, Dom is my body. So if you hear me say like, oh, Dom was thinking this, then you know it's the ego, the body. And there's nothing wrong with an ego, personally. My ego and Doe and Dom are one. Like, there's not one without the other in this life. Both are necessary, and I love them both. Yeah, so that's awesome. Next thing I want to talk about, my dreams. Oh man, epic. I'm on my, what is it, March 11th or March 12th? I'm on my 12th day of sobriety, and the dreams are coming back hardcore, which is cool. I really was hoping to start dreaming again. And I've got like a notepad beside my bed. So last night, when I woke up from my dream, I was writing on the notepad, but it's pitch black in my room, so it's just like you're doing your best at just writing, and hopefully it makes sense in the morning, which it does. I can write in the dark, it seems like. So my first dream was I was in a big ass mansion, like super big, and I was in a Harry Potter world, right? Everybody had a wand and we could do magic spell, but as soon as I got in the dream, I was being chased by the bad guys. So I was just running, fighting, meaning like, it was so cool because it was like as if I was Harry Potter. So I would do movements with my wands and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, come on, come on. I would twirl it around and it would shoot something in hopes that I would hit the bad guys. But the biggest thing is like I was running away. I don't know if you ever had those dreams where you're just being chased and you run and you run and you hide. Well, not necessarily hide, but because they're going to find you. So it's like a parkour, and then you have to kind of trick them, and then you jump over this and underneath that. But the beauty of it compared to before, because I had those dreams before, they're not so fun. This time around, yes, I was scared because I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught. I didn't know what the repercussions were, but I didn't want to know. Like, I didn't want to get caught, right? I was running because I had to. And like I said, yes, I was afraid, but there was like a hint of courage. Like, it was just like I knew, not that I knew, but like every situation, like let's say I would get into a corner, I'd kind of be stuck. I would find a way to get out of it, to try to fight. I would fight back. It was just not a running away out of fear and oh my God, oh my God. No, it was like a running away out of fear with some fight inside of me, like with some courage. So it felt crazy because the dream lasted forever. Like, seriously, it felt like I was running forever in my dream, and I kept fighting, and I was getting exhausted. And another beauty about that situation is that everybody that I would encounter, like strangers, they were on my side. So like life was on my side, and every time that an enemy, the enemy would get close, and there was a lot of bad guys. We were kind of fighting. You would get strangers that would start fighting with me, so it was cool. Like I was not alone, and the attacker would never attack the strangers. They would only attack me because I was the center of what they needed, what they wanted to capture me. But I had the realization, like, man, that's freaking awesome. Like everybody's helping me, so I would kind of use them to my advantage. Not that I would put them in danger, but like they would just step in, and it was just the coolest thing. And then as I was running, I woke up from that dream inside of my dream. So I didn't wake up in real life. It's like as if I woke up and I was back home, where I used to live in Castleman, and I was in front of the Tim Hortons in a snowbank that had like a pool, it was such a small snowbank on top of that, and there was a pool, and I was doing an ice dip with my uncle Daniel that passed away this summer, um, not of COVID, but of cancer. But it was during the COVID time, so there was no funeral. I didn't really have a chance to say goodbye. So when I saw him in my dream, I didn't get the realization that he was there dead. I was just doing a nice dip with him, and and I knew that I had finally escaped those goddamn enemies. Like finally. And I remember like, oh, relaxing in the cold water. Like the cold was actually a release, right? Of like, running away. And then at that point, I told him like, oh, okay, I want to get on my motorcycle and go back home. And he's like, dude, like if you get on your motorcycle, it's gonna be the shortest ride ever. And I knew what he meant because the enemy knew that knew my motorcycle. So as soon as I jumped on my motorcycle, I knew that they would find me. So my uncle was always one to do jokes that were real, like that would hurt, but they were a joke. Like he meant it as a joke, but at the same time, like, man, that hurts. Like, yeah, you're right. If I jump on that bike, it's gonna be the shortest ride ever. So good joke, but at the same time, like, that sucks. Like, I don't want the enemies to catch me, right? So I just kind of threw my jacket at him, like, no, you're funny. And then I woke up in real life and I was like, oh my God, that was exhausting. And I couldn't get back to sleep. I was like freaking wired because of the chasing that had happened before. So I went to the washroom, but I couldn't fall asleep. Like I was so wired because it was real to me. Like the enemies, the fear, and it lasted forever. Like if I would have guessed, like I know dream world versus, but it was like at least a couple of hours. And I've never had a dream that just lasted so long. It was so, like it would drag, right? So yeah, it was an effort to just get away from those bad guys. Anyways, I managed to fall asleep again, and I get another dream. And the other dream is I'm doing construction, which is awesome. But then my boss says, "Hey, you got a phone call. Come with me. You got to pick it up." And I pick up the phone call, and right away there's a woman on the other side that says, "Hey, I dropped off the files at 3209 at your address." And I'm like, "Hey, I that's not my address. What are you talking about? Like my files?" It's like, "Yeah, those two important files that you need. There's two of them now. Remember, there's two." I'm like, "But where did you drop them? I don't understand what you're saying. Like I don't live there. Like I need those files. You're saying like." You got to bring them to me. What are you doing? And it was just getting more and more confusing. I'm like, what the fuck? And in that confusion, my aunt that passed away 10 years ago, like 3 weeks after Frank died, or before Frank died, she passed away. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, then Frank passed away. And those were the two first death of the family. So it hit me hard. But anyways, she comes in my dream, but when she walks in the room, there's two of them. One of them is short, brown hair, wears glasses, and when she died, I'm guessing she was around 60. But in my dream, she was like about 50. And then the other woman behind her was her again. It was her, but she was taller, blonde hair, and of course more beautiful. But she was beautiful. Like the first, the brown hair version of her, still very much beautiful. It's just the other one was like more, I guess, like you could tell. But the thing that blew my mind, I was like, "Hey, you're dead! Like you're here!" And as soon as I realized that she was dead and she was here in front of me, I'm like, "Holy fuck, am I dead?" And as soon as I got the realization that the bad guys probably got me and they killed me from the previous dream, that's how I did the connection of like, am I dead? And she didn't say anything. She just came and hugged me. And in that hug, I started to cry as if like, oh my God, I'm never going to see my daughter and my wife and my son again. But right away, I caught myself. I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm dead, that's cool. Like I am with them. Like I'm gonna be able to see them really soon on the other side of Source, right? It didn't bother me. So I stopped crying right away, and then I woke up from my dream, and I was like, holy shit! I felt so proud at the idea that my subconscious, my real me, was comfortable with death, like as if. And then I'm like, why was there two of them? That was so weird. So morning comes, I call my mom and I'm like, when was she born? Like I started thinking of like astrological sign. Is she a Gemini? Or I started thinking as well because that aunt was bipolar all of her life. That was one thing that she struggled all of her life. She couldn't even work. Like she worked at the bank at the beginning and then got a pension because her bipolar was so severe. And I call my mom and I ask her, so when's her birthday? And she's like, oh, in July, 9th of July. And I'm like, as if she's a Gemini. And it really made me think like, oh my God, does astrological sign, like, is astrological sign real? Because in my childhood, I always attributed a astrological sign to what you read, you know, like, oh, I'm Scorpio. So because I read a lot of stuff about Scorpio, I would attribute the qualities of what I read, you know, to who I am, and it kind of defined me, right? So I didn't think that it was the other way around. I didn't think like, oh, because I'm Scorpio, I'm those attribute. I thought that, you know, because I'm reading about Scorpio stuff, then I'm empowering what I'm reading, right? So it was like, so I thought it was bullshit, tell you the truth. I thought it was complete fucking bullshit. But this morning, I'm like, holy shit, maybe it's not bullshit. And moreover, fuck yeah. Like, who cares if, you know, most of the population thinks it's bullshit or not? I don't even know, man. But personally, it's the same thing as believing in God. Like, I'm done fucking not believing something just because I'm afraid of what other people think. Like, fuck that. So that was really cool. And thank you, Ma Tante Mado, for coming and visiting me in my dream because her hug was fucking powerful. Like when I realized, like, oh man, am I dead? And she hugged me, it's like as if everything went black. It was crazy. Like she hugged me, but it was not just like a physical hug. As soon as she hugged me, everything turned black and I felt like the entire universe was hugging me. And then when she released me from that hug, I went back to that same spot in front of her and that's when I got the realization like, oh, I don't need to cry. It was so cool, like to have the universe hug you through my aunt. So last night I had two, like my uncle came and visit me and my aunt. Like how freaking blessed do I feel today? Amazing. Freaking amazing. And the fact that I saw two of her soul, is it because she was bipolar and bipolar people maybe live with like multiple souls inside of them and it gets very confusing. So if you are bipolar, fucking I encourage you to empower to maybe let yourself be free in the idea that yeah, you might have two souls inside of you and that's the difficult part. But if you surrender to it and you allow them to be, and for you to allow yourself to be crazy in front of the people you love the most that you can open yourself with, fucking go right ahead. I mean, I'm Do and I'm Dom. I'm fucking insane. Join the insanity train. There is nothing wrong with fucking being insane if you're not hurting anybody. You know, you're not hurting anybody. So, man, be free. And if you're a Gemini and you still feel like, and you feel like that too, as if you had two souls, empower them. Who fucking cares? I will support you 100%. Not that I matter. Like, my opinion means nothing and I am not important, you know. So I mean, I to you, I'm important to myself because I've got self-love and everything, but you know, whatever. Fuck the other people, right? On the same token, you know, the practice of self-love, the practice of looking at death and walking towards death, meaning like creating a relationship with death. I apply that to everything in my life. And it's changing me for the better in so freaking many ways. Like creating a relationship with Dom, my body, creating a relationship with the cold, creating a relationship with my breath. Oh, my breath. I so want to talk to you about my breath. But just to continue the relationship part, if ever you hurt and you stub your toe, let's say, and you're freaking hurting and maybe you broke it, create a relationship with that pain. It's insane. The cold has taught me that pain is also an entity. You know, it's it's there. Like you are not your feelings. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. And a feeling like pain has its own. How do I say? Has its own character. Has its own personality. That's what it is. So when I do the cold training at the beginning, like it's so painful. So I would look at the pain as if it was my body, as if the body was suffering. But the truth of it is that your body is always in a state of bliss. The only reason why you're not noticing it is because you've got all of your story, all of your story, all of your attachment, you know, as if that's my pain, that's my bullshit. Because especially my hand, I was doing a cold training on my hand, and the part where the joints are, it was so freaking painful. And when you really freeze your hand, like the pain can last a good 10-15 minutes until it dissipates. And I was cool with it. Like I was noticing it, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm on the verge of crying almost, where it hurts so much, but I'm just like doing everything possible to ignore it, I guess, until one day the cold was saying, look, man, that pain that's being shown to you by me through the cold is not what you think. You're judging it. You're thinking that it's pain. Stop telling yourself that it's pain. Say hi to it and see what comes out of it. And in that moment, I'm like, all right. And I said hi to the pain, and the pain blossomed because I totally surrendered. Like I removed the judgment. Somehow I was able to remove judgment from the feeling, and it said hi back, and it turned into a bliss, like a really high, painful, in quotation, I know you can't see it because it's a podcast, but a feeling of bliss. It was the same feeling as before, but there's a healing that happened because I allowed it to blossom as if it was like a flower, and the pain blossomed, grew, became more intense, you know, like more painful, but because now I've got no judgment, it's like a feeling, and so I don't know what its name was, and I don't care, but that feeling blossomed in my finger, and since then my hands have been healed. When I put my hand into the cold, like full cold, the pain is no longer there afterwards. Like my hands are just full red, circulation is beautiful, but I had to surrender to the feeling, the healing feeling that the cold was showing me. So that's a big lesson, you know, like don't judge your feeling. Like, oh, I don't like this feeling because it hurts. Who says it hurts? You're the one that's judging it. How about that feeling has a name? How about that feeling has a personality? And you just say, hey, how's it going? Feeling? Are you here to heal? Fuck yeah. Every single feeling that you're feeling inside of you has a purpose. And it'd be healing a trauma, it'd be healing your circulatory system, or whatever illusion it's showing you. I really encourage you to go towards that, to remove judgment from those feelings and allow it to do its work. And that's important, right? You are the observer, you are the witness, and without you being there, those feelings could not exist. Those feelings, those sensations, those thoughts, your body could not exist. The witness, okay, is doing work with mother. Mother is everything. Your illusion, your thoughts, your feelings, everything. And you, the witness, are the creator. So as you're creating life through, God, I'm guessing, you are doing work here. And through your intention and effort, that work can either blossom like a flower, or you can get stuck and just let it grind. Oh, it's so painful, like when you do ayahuasca and you're inside the muck and it lasts 4 hours. Well, it feels like it's lasting an eternity. Like I've had that feeling in my second ceremony. Holy shit! It felt like 100 years, 100 years of pure suffering. But if I would have allowed that suffering now, anyways, with my knowledge now, I have the assumption that if I would have looked at it with an open heart and non-judgment, and I would have brought in my spiritual self, meaning my insanity, saying, hey, how's it going? Feeling? I'm completely insane. I'm talking to my own feelings. And when they answer, I fucking believe it. Or if my dead aunt would come in a ceremony, if I surrender to the experience and I really believe, that's my aunt, and people would say, no, it's the psychedelic, or people, who fucking said that? Nobody ever said that to me. I'm saying that to myself. My mind would be like, hey, that's not your aunt, it's the psychedelic, blah, 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 blah. No, fuck you. You're just here to, like, as if it's testing me. You're just here to test me to make sure that I get to the next level and really surrender to the experience of being insane with love. Like, seriously. Because you're removing all judgment at this point, and what you're left with is your pure self. Do. And what is Do? Fucking pure love, a reflection of God. Pure love. That's, anyways, if you can learn that, man, that's so cool. And I would love to talk to somebody that has gone through that type of experience and be like, fuck, no, man, it's true. As if pain is not pain. Pain is actually an entity. It's actually a spirit. It's actually, like, whatever you want to call it, your reality is an illusion. If you want to call it like, oh, it's me surrendering to my body, and then there's hormones, like, I'm sure there's a physical explanation to what I did to my hand. Fine. Then it's science. Then it's biology. I don't care. I believe in all. If you want to call it biology because of X, Y, and Z, and it's the endorphins and blah, 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 well, fuck yeah. Or, oh, it's a spirit and it's actually cool. Like, that feeling the other day came to me and I was joking with it and I was laughing with it. And yet it used to be pain a moment ago, and now it's my best friend. Like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Be insane with me. I really encourage that. And yeah, I have shame. Like, I went to see a friend, and her son was like, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast, and right away I felt so much shame. Like, the younger generation, for whatever reason, like, not that I want them to respect me, but I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody's listening to my podcast. Like, I'm recording this for myself. Like, I want to, if ever one day I've got dementia, I want to be able to play that shit again and have it for my own. Like, I'm not expecting nobody to listen to this. So, that's the beauty of it. And he has a podcast as well. And he was telling me, like, when you have the cameras on and the podcast is rolling, how do you not how do you, but like he's having the trouble of like, how do you separate so that you're genuine and you don't sound like a fucking phony? Well, do it for yourself. Like seriously, I am insane. And anybody that would come to me in the street would be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I listen to your podcast." Shame would come up right away because I'm like, "Oh man, you must think I'm a total fucking insane insanity person." And like production value super low. Like I'm genuine. I don't fucking edit anything. I just fucking press play, stop, boom, done. And that's how it's got to be because I'm doing it for myself. And I'm actually, when I do listen to my podcast, I actually enjoy them because it's my memories, it's my life, and my life matters for once. For once, like fucking Dom, he matters to me. I want the best for him, and if the best doesn't come and it's the worst, then I'm gonna be there and support him 100% because I know that because of me, if I remove all judgment, even the suffering is a form of bliss. And I've been there before, man. Like with the mushroom, if you take enough mushroom and it's showing you like pure misery, seriously, you can go through that, use that misery and turn it into a bliss. Because I tell you, your body is always in a state of bliss. It's only you, the soul, that is confused, the observer, the witness. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next subject of breath. Yo, breath. So the Wim Hof breathing, just so that you know the types of breath, because Dom, very important. Okay, so the Wim Hof breathing is the idea of taking full deep breaths and letting go, not pushing the air out. Is deep breath, letting go. Do that 30 times until your body vibrates and then hold your breath. And as you're holding your breath, I am encouraging you to relax entirely. Relax. Go inside of yourself and feel the vibration and all of the oxygen doing work inside of you and relax. And when you feel the need to breathe, fine. Take a deep breath. Hold and push. And what I mean by that is you take a deep breath, you close your throat, and you push your lungs so that like your lung compresses, and that's going to make the oxygen just shoot to your extremities. And that feeling is the same feeling as ayahuasca or the mushroom or whatever. That's why when Wim says get high on your own supply, fuck yeah, it's actually, you're actually getting super high and it feels great. The Wim Hof breathing is a way of life. You can do that type of breathing at all time. At all time. If you're walking, taking a walk, do that. And then hold your breath. Deep breath in, let go. Deep breath in. There's not one moment that I don't do that. It's so important to me to take a full, deep breath for every single breath, not just when I'm doing the Wim Hof breathing. Fuck that. When I'm at home, when I'm walking, the time that I'm having the most difficulty is when I'm talking. So right now, like I'm not doing the deep breath, obviously. Maybe I should try. It just feels weird because when you're talking, you're like kind of in a flow. But anyways, the other time that I don't do it is when I get upset at my children. Let's say tonight. My boy is 2 years old and it's freaking me the fuck out because he's a big guy. He's only 2 and he weighs like 36 pounds. He's the same weight as my 4-year-old daughter. And he's started to like push and hit. And we tell him like, no, but he's laughing in our face as he's hitting us. And we're like, no, buddy. He's like, stop. That's not okay. That's not okay because we don't want to label. That's one thing that's super. If you have kids, don't put any label. So don't say like, stop, that's you're doing something wrong, because then they're going to attribute wrong to themselves, or you're being a jerk and then they're going to think they're a jerk. You just say that's not okay. That's the only thing that we found, me and my wife, like that's not okay. Anyways, hey, that's not okay, buddy, like stop. And I'm afraid that he's gonna become a serial killer or something. Like I know he's only 2 years old and I'm overreacting, but I gotta nip that in the bud, man. Like, fuck that you're gonna hurt other people, your sister, your mom, me, or even other kids, your teacher. Like, no way. That's the worst thing you can be in this society. I'm not gonna allow you to be a bully, right? And during those times when I get very frustrated. I I start breathing so shallow, like it's such a shallow breath. Like my body, my body, dough gets confused, gets attached to the situation, and just stops breathing. It's crazy. Spirituality is the number one thing that allows me to do deep breath in and to let go. And I have to remember that, man. Like during your worst time when shit gets real, go deep, my friend. You got this. Like we've been practicing for years. You're so freaking good at doing that most of the time. Like fucking 90% of the time, you're there. You're almost there. And there's a reason, right? I'm telling you guys. So maybe, yeah, the paradox of children. Oh, chaos. Now, the other breath that I've learned lately is as you live life in your lungs, I mean, I don't know the concept, I just heard it, but it's like little bubbles and they collapse. And the way to fix those collapsed air pockets, I guess, is when you take a breath in, do a double breath. And I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but it's like that one. And then, and supposedly that fixes those air pockets. And I've been doing that lately, just like a few, maybe 5 minutes a day to revitalize those air pocket, and it's been feeling great. I don't know why, but it works, and I don't even know where I heard it. But yeah, if you feel like your lungs are doesn't have high capacity, so let's say you're doing the Wim Hof breathing and you're not getting long times without breathing, you're having trouble oxygenating your body fully, do that for 5 minutes to get your lungs back in order, and then go back to the Wim Hof breathing and give it a try. Yo, in my life, I don't know why I said that. Yo, in my life, it's been incredible. But there's so much you can do with the breath. Like right now, I'm sticking to the Wim Hof. I'm sticking to that double breath for healing the lungs. And then the other one is the slow exhale. So let's say you're doing the Wim Hof breathing and you take a deep breath in and then you do a super slow exhale. So that one is actually, you're using your muscles. That slow exhale allows you to calm the fuck down. And it also allows you to stay in the cold for such a long time. Because I'm guaranteeing you, if you're in control of your breath, you're in control of your life. Period. Like straight up, period. The breath is one of the most important thing you can master. And Dom, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so fucking proud of you. And yeah, so mother, like I know you're the one that's been teaching me this thing with the help of cannabis. Now I know I'm sober, but cannabis, I am sober because I want to learn to respect you. I'm not sober because I think you're a bad influence or because I think that you're not good in my life. I'm doing it because I realize that I'm the asshole here that was taking advantage of you and was abusing you and was smoking you from morning to night. So just know this, all right? You are freaking awesome. You have taught me so much. And that's one thing. If you're smoking cannabis right here, right now, and you're listening to this, freaking talk to cannabis. Like, I know your inner monologue is like linear. Like, I remember having thoughts and having an inner monologue. It would go from like one thought to another, and it would be kind of fun to, but it was confusing. And it's like, you don't have an intention at this point. I'm telling you, if you smoke cannabis and you have an intention and you ask questions of her and you allow her to heal and to, just fucking take over your body and take over your inner monologue, it's so insane. Cannabis is a master plant and I believe it with all of my heart. I'm insane. Man, thinking about me a year and a half ago, just a year and a half ago, let's say I would be listening to my own podcast a year and a half ago, I'd be like, fuck that guy. He's insane. Like, why would I even listen to him? He's such an idiot. He means nothing to me. Like, spirituality, spirits, God, life after death, talking to the cannabis. Are you insane? You're going to go crazy. You're going to be bipolar. You're going to go in the mental institute. No, fuck that. It's Yeah, I was an asshole and such a hypocrite. Yeah. Well, my friend, that that was a good podcast. I enjoyed it 100%. Oh man, thank you for listening. Monkey and Frank for life. Thank you, Mado, for coming in my dream. Thank you, Danielle, for coming in my dream. Thank you, Mother, for always teaching me. Thank you, my friends, for always being there for me. Thank you to that new kid that I met today, man. You blew my freaking mind. And thank you to God. Thank you to my breath. Thank you to Dom. Thank you to Doe. Thank you. All right. Love you.